Hello, are you a female millennial leader who has a strong desire to make a difference in the world? You have a background perhaps in education or in missions, and you have a heart for the nations, you love people, and you know deep down inside that you have something really special to offer. And you think to yourself, if I just had the right support, the right encouragement, the right accountability, I could discover my purpose and really step into it and do some pretty amazing things. If that speaks to you, then you are in the right place tonight. I'm Viola Jackson. I'm a transformation coach. I am the leader of the Facebook group Transformational Coaching for Millennial Leaders. I'm an aspiring author and speaker, and I am super, super excited to be with you this evening. So thanks for tuning in, whether you're listening in live or by the replay. I would love it if you would just drop in the comment where you're listening from this evening. And as you engage with us tonight, I just want to say on the front end, I want to encourage you to be on the lookout for any area in your life that becomes highlighted to you as an area where you realize, hey, I could use some encouragement or support in a particular area in my life, because this show really is about coaching and the benefits of coaching in your life. And so in a nutshell, that's what we're here for as coaches. My special guest tonight is a leadership coach, and I am super excited to share her with you. By the end of this episode, you will have picked up at least one, and maybe more, but at least one gold nugget of actionable wisdom as you hear my guest share about leadership. She's going to take a deep dive into what is the abundant life. And I'm confident that you're going to benefit tremendously. You're going to get inspired, and you're going to hear from my special guest this evening. So you're also going to walk away, hopefully, with a better understanding of what coaching is. And like I said earlier, how it benefits you. And if after watching this, you say, hey, I'd like to get more information about coaching, you can just drop coaching in the comments, and I will get back to you as soon as the show is over. So let me just tell you a little bit about my special guest. I'm so excited, I can hardly stand it. She is a very special and dear friend to me, a mentor to me. She is the founder and visionary leader of the international nonprofit Mountain of Myrrh, and she ran that organization for over 13 years, as well as its local expression, the Single Mom KC, which stands for Kansas City. She has assisted hundreds of single mother families. She's developed an effective discipleship program for single moms, which included things like financial responsibility, spiritual growth, community involvement, and parenting. She's also developed a biblically based curriculum to aid women in leading small groups for single moms. So if you know anybody that's a single mom, please go ahead and tag them right now, because they do not want to miss this. And please do go ahead and just share this out on your Facebook page, because I know this is going to be epic. You're going to love this conversation. My special guest has also traveled domestically and internationally, training and teaching and equipping and just loving on single moms, myself being one of them. And I'll tell you a little bit more about how we met when I bring her on. But she has transitioned, and she now is working to empower, encourage, and educate women throughout the world as the CEO of Lead Her Ministries, LLC. My guest partners with women who are ready to discover, define, and develop the leader within. And I have a feeling that that is exactly who we're talking to this evening, and whoever you are watching the replay. So this guest is a captivating speaker, trainer, a life and leadership coach, and she believes that every woman is called and created for leadership, and she lives by that. So I'd like to welcome my special guest, Misty Hughes.
That's my cue, right?
That's your cue, cutie pie. How are you?
Good. Excited to be here.
I'm so excited to have you. This is going to be awesome. And I just, first of all, just want to say welcome to the Traction to Action show. And thank you so much for making time in your world and your schedule to be here. And gosh, Misty, I think I've known you for most of those 13 years that you, since you started the ministry way back whenever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we knew each other before that a little bit, maybe, didn't we?
Right. Well, we met through the Children's Equipping Center.
Mm-hmm.
I was late picking up my kids. And that's when I met.
And I wasn't a very compassionate leader in those days.
Well, it just goes to show you what a little coaching and a lot of help.
Yeah.
A lot of life, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I just want to say before we dive in, because I know we're going to take a deep dive into some really fascinating conversation this evening, but I want to just let people know about our relationship, how I met, and who you are to me. As a mentor, as a friend, as a coach. You have been coaching before coaching was a thing. Like you've been doing that with me, and I know many other women for a really long time. And our relationship has stood the test of time. And you basically came into my world right around the time that I was going through a divorce and everything was shifting in my family. So, you know, I was becoming a single mom right around that same time that you and I met. So you were just like the right person at the right time in my life. And ever since then, we have prayed together for each other, for our kids, for single moms. We've ministered together, we've traveled together, we've partied together, we've cried together, we've done a lot of laughing together. We have a little bit of history, and so it really is just like such a privilege and an honor to get to do this with you. And I just want you to know you've always been a role model to me. And I don't know if you remember this, but back in like 2010, you did, because you've been doing this thing with women for a long time. So this is not a new hat for you, but back in 2010, you had a couple come in and train us in dreaming.
Dreaming. Yes.
Not night dreams, you guys, but like dreams and visions for our life, which was really like life purpose stuff, right? And I still have my notebook right here that we did in 2010. And one of the questions that they asked us to answer was, who has been like inspirational to you? And you were one of the 5 people that I wrote down. I don't know if I ever told you this before or not, but you were one of the 5 people. And the reason that I put you down as one of those 5 is because of your courage. And because of the way that you have shown up to courageously time and time again. Obviously, raising 4 kids on your own takes courage. That goes without saying. And to do it well, and you have absolutely done that, but also your vulnerability before God. And whenever I think of you, Misty Hughes, I think of King David, and he, like you, has this amazing way of, you're looking for something. What do you want?
Can you see me?
Yeah.
I'm not, but I'm not on.
You're not?
Just when I talk.
Oh, okay. So I needed to change the view. Okay, let's see if I can get it to do side by side. How about that?
That would be fun.
Now, can you see yourself?
Now I can. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Thank you for letting me know, because I'm just like going on. Yeah, it highlights the person that's speaking in the view that
Right.
I have. I'm
Mhm.
sorry about
Yeah.
that. Thank you
No,
for
that's okay. I was enjoying watching you.
too funny. But I'm just going to finish this thought. So yes, King David, because I think this is really valuable to some people to hear tonight. And that is that you have this revelation, this knowing that God loves you no matter what. And I love that about you. And it takes courage to walk in that and to live that out. And it has provoked me, it's challenged me, it's inspired me. And so I just want you to know I love you. And I am so thankful for you and just who you've been to me. And so thank you.
Gosh, I want to do a Facebook Live so I can say all these wonderful things about you now. That was
Well,
beautiful. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank
You
you.
have to
I'm
invite me.
really
You don't
honored.
have to do it tonight. You can do it another time.
Okay. All right.
Tonight it's all about you.
So
Uh,
thanks. That's really sweet. And no, I didn't know I was one of your top 5 people. And,
yes,
you know,
ma'am.
you think about courage and everything. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I just never looked at it that way. It was just, you do what you've got to do. And, yeah, but thank you. Thanks. That was, yeah, thank you.
You are welcome. So is there anything else that I left out that you want our listeners to know about you?
About me. I got married a couple of years ago
Mhm.
after being single for almost 22 years.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a fun thing. I'm figuring out what it means to be a wife, like really for the first time in my life. So,
Wow.
so, yeah,
Exciting.
yeah. So
That's exciting.
it is.
So
It's
that,
quite a
along
journey.
with a lot of other life accomplishments, what would you say has been your greatest accomplishment in life so far?
Well, I really think, my greatest accomplishment has really been, not just raising 4 kids, because we can raise 4 kids, but I like to say launching
Mm.
4 amazing human beings into adulthood who are contributing members of their community and, the world they live in, and, married to amazing people. So yeah, I can't take all the credit. I take like 5% of the credit for that, but I was there. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's
And I know your kids, so I know just how powerful that is, and something that so many other women that you've worked with could
Mhm.
use. Because like I think about Proverbs 31, and sometimes the Proverbs 31 woman, the virtuous woman, seems so far away from our reality. But when you
Yeah,
have somebody that's flesh and blood in your life that's doing it and
yeah,
living it,
uh-huh.
it makes
Yeah,
it like seem like, okay, maybe there is hope for me, maybe I really can do this thing. So
yeah. And I think, Viola, the reason that it feels like such a big accomplishment is because of where I came from and
mm,
my own history. And, they say history repeats itself and all those things. And I didn't want history to repeat itself. And so it feels, just monumental in the fact that, yeah, that I feel like, some cycles were broken and things like that. So yeah. So I think it's not just that, oh gosh, my kids are grown up and, they all got jobs and working and married and, doing well,
mm,
not perfect, but doing
mhm,
well.
mhm,
And, uh, but knowing the things that we've overcome,
mhm.
makes it monumental for my heart. So.
Right. That's awesome. So could you just share a little bit more, tell us a little bit more about how your childhood influenced where you are today and what you're doing today?
Well, my childhood, I grew up in a single mother family with one sister that, you know, bottom line, we didn't get along. And, you know, we lived in a small community, and there was, you know, I was very, um, what's brown compared to most people in my community. And so there were, you know, some, I wouldn't say tension or anything like that, but there was definitely feelings of inadequacy related to not only just being, you know, from a single mother family, but, you know, I didn't look like my mom. She was very fair and blue eyes, and I was not. And so just a lot of stuff involved with that. And yeah, and so couldn't wait to get out of the city and, you know, escape to college. And at the age of 21, found myself pregnant and unmarried, and, you know, just went on that journey. But I mean, you know, I had, you know, my mom was, she was not a bad mom. She, you know, she didn't have the opportunities for healing and restoration that I think came to us in the Christian world, as we got older and things. And so, you know, when we operate out of our own wounds and brokenness, it's, yeah, it affects those that are in our homes and everything. So yeah, so just lots of just dynamics that weren't the most healthy, and you don't know they're healthy until you're an adult sometimes and raising kids, and something's not going right, and the Lord says, hey, there's some skeletons there you might want to look at. So, but yeah, I mean, so we had the support of grandparents in the community, and you know, went to a small Baptist church and stuff. So yeah.
Well, it sounds to me like your background has played a really big role, because your mom was a single mom, you were a single mom, but you have since been able to use the ministry that you built and impact hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of single moms.
Yeah.
So I just love that, you know, because I
Yeah.
think that so often we don't always want to look at our suffering, and a lot of times we want to just like brush it under the carpet and pretend like it's not there, and it often can bring feelings of shame and inadequacy and you know, all kinds of things that we try to make it go away or just pretend like it's not there. But in reality, that's where the gold is. That's where we oftentimes find our calling and our purpose, is in those places of suffering, right? So
yeah. It's like we have to be willing to embrace the reality of life,
right,
whether it's a sickness or whether it's you know, just a situation that you're in, good or bad. You know, I guess that's the courage. It takes courage to look at life and go, okay, here's the reality. But we don't have to our mindset doesn't have to stay stuck in that reality. We can say, okay, so if this is the reality, what are the possibilities that are before me based on this reality, instead of just staying in that victim mentality or whatever that keeps us in those cycles. And you know, it's like yeah, and I think that that was it. It was just, there's got to be a way out of the cycle. And oftentimes we say, I will never, right?
Mhm.
I will never be like that. I won't make those mistakes. I won't, do this, or I won't do that. And we become fixated with what we're not going to do.
Yeah.
And we go in the direction that we're thinking about. And
Mm.
so we end up repeating that same thing, even though we said we would never. And so it helps to say, okay, instead of saying, I will never, think about what is the possibility. Like, instead of saying, my children will never um, be single, my girls will never be single mothers, my boys will never, walk out on a marriage. Instead of saying those things, which is what my heart wanted, I said, my kids will develop healthy mindsets about right relationships, and my kids will be launched into successful adulthood and enter into successful relationships with spouses. And so we go that way instead of the I will never way. And then that leads us in that way. And so and it just, I think it opens up possibilities, and for me, it opens up hope. And
Mhm.
hope is super important.
Super powerful, super important. And what I hear underlying what you just said is choosing to see things from a place of abundance versus a place of lack, choosing to see the glass half full instead of half empty. And it can sound cliche when we say that, right? But in reality,
Mm-hmm.
there's a power in that. And I've watched that. I mean, it's one thing to just give lip service to something, but I've seen that play out in your life. I've seen that play. You have faithfully spoken life and abundant spoken from a place of abundance concerning your children. And I just think there's just so much power in that,
Mm-hmm.
and what it brings forth. So I don't know, whoever you are that's watching, that is something. I told you, you're going
Mm-hmm.
to get at least one golden nugget.
Mm-hmm.
That's actionable wisdom. That's one right
Yeah.
there.
So can I say something about that real quick?
Please do.
So part of, which we'll get into, part of what I love to offer to my clients in coaching is an assessment called the Clifton Strengths Finders, right? And people can get online and look at what that is. But there's 34 different talent themes, and so one of my top themes is positivity. So by my very nature of who I am, I just always see things that way. And so that is a gift from God that I have. And, part of coaching is helping develop self-awareness. And so as I become self-aware about that gift, number one, I can be super thankful to my father for putting that in my DNA. But that doesn't mean, like, for other people who that might not be a natural thing, they can be around people who have that nature, who are positive, because we overflow on each other, right? I mean, that would be the hope. And so I thank you for saying that and acknowledging that. I just want to say that it's a natural thing for me. Like it's one of those things that I don't have to work and think about being positive all the time, or looking at something as an opportunity instead of an obstacle. But if that's not somebody's natural bent, then they can find those kind of people and run with them and have them in their life, and learn how to, and glean from that, or be coached around it, or whatever, so
I was
yeah.
gonna say, yeah, because you may be in a situation where you know, it's like you and everybody around you may not have that positivity, but that is truly one of the great values of coaching, is coming into the self-awareness about your own personality, your own design.
Yes.
And I just want to say right now, it's not good or bad that
No,
you're,
right.
if you weren't born just with a natural bent like Misty of positivity, I definitely don't want you to feel any kind of way about that, because we're all just wired differently and we
Yes.
all have strengths,
Yes.
you know,
That,
but we can also learn and modify our behaviors and leverage certain parts of our personality, right?
right.
In order to get us where we
Yeah.
want to go. So,
Yeah.
we've kind of dived into the whole concept of coaching. So how has coaching transformed you so far, Misty? I mean, you've been doing it informally for a really long time, but you just recently got trained in it, and now you are starting your coaching practice. So tell us a little bit about just the journey of coaching for you.
Yeah. So I would say what I've been strong in over the years is more mentoring and probably teaching.
Okay.
And I love questions. And so I think coaching has always been a part of everything I do. And, you know, but definitely wasn't a muscle that was intentionally exercised, if that makes sense. And so coaching for me, like, so, and people say that, well, oh, you've been coaching, you know, all this time. And I'm like, yeah, sort of, kind of, not really. And so I think I've always seen the value of coaching and heard about coaching for years and years and years. I guess in 2017, I actually met with his name is Chris McCluskey, and he runs, you know, a nationally accredited coaching platform with classes and things like that. And I ran into him at my son's graduation, and so that was kind of the first time that somebody said, hey, you should really look into being trained as a coach based on what you're doing, and came alongside of me and helped me get registered. And so I took a couple classes in 2017, then you get busy, and fell in love with it then, really. And then it wasn't until I started to look at pulling away from my role with the nonprofit and beginning to, and I had gotten married that same year too, and really began to ask the questions of, okay, not just now what, but I think the question for me was, did all that matter? Like I've worked really hard to develop and equip myself in certain arenas of life, and was that for naught, Lord, and things like that. So you actually were my first coach, and you just really pushed me. You pushed me to dive back into really my core, the core of who I am, what you know, just even like you know, my belief about who God is, my mission, vision, and purpose, you know, just simple things like that. And I'm like, oh, you know, because I was so tied into the mission, vision, and purpose of the nonprofit. And then I'm like, we're separating. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know who I am, that identity crisis. And so you really helped me dive deep again in a really uncomfortable space. It was uncomfortable. It was hard. It took time and energy. And so, but it prepared me to step into, I guess it was 2021, with vision and purpose, and to really keep the ball moving, and not, because I think, you know, we talked about, I don't want, I think a coach asks is, what will happen if nothing changes in a year, right?
Right.
how will you feel about that? And
Right.
I'm like, oh my gosh, I will be sick to my stomach. I will have all kinds of regret. And so
Mm.
I knew that that's not what I wanted. So you really helped set me up for success in moving forward just with my own studies and diving back into coaching, while staying true to who I am as his daughter and his beloved, and tapping back into that. So yeah, so that's
Wow.
yeah, I guess I'm a uh, product of your coaching expertise.
Well, thank you. It was a privilege just to get to, I know you've had other coaches along the way, but at that particular season and time in your life, it really was a transitional time for you. Like you said, just recently being newly married and letting go of something that you've been tied to for so long. It's like been your heartbeat for years and years. And
Mhm.
but you pivoted and you reinvented yourself and you rebranded yourself and you found yourself, you rediscovered yourself. It's like,
Yeah,
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 it's
yeah.
really, really awesome to watch. And it's still
Oh.
happening. It's still
Yeah, I was
happening.
gonna say I still feel like I'm kind of in that space,
Mhm.
giving myself permission to go, oh, that's not really what I wanted to say, or that's not really how I want to present, or oh, yeah. So anyway,
Awesome.
but
That's awesome. So, Misty, we're obviously living in I mean, to say that we're living in challenging times is an understatement. And my focus, as you know, is on millennial leaders, particularly women millennial leaders.
mhm.
Uh, and they are finding themselves facing a lot of challenges. Obviously, the challenge of being in a global pandemic in and of itself is a lot. But then there's the everyday, challenges of life, of raising a family, of employment versus unemployment, transitioning in the midst of all those different factors, right? And
Yeah.
some are even juggling older parents as well as younger
Mhm.
kids. And so you've helped hundreds of female leaders over the years. And one of the tools that we use in coaching is the life wheel,
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
wheel of satisfaction, as some call it.
Mhm.
So how would you say that could be used to help alleviate stress and overwhelm in a person?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the one of the first steps that we have to take is, again, dealing with the reality of life. And
Mm,
so I think whether it's a life satisfaction survey or a wheel of life, it's just stopping and
mhm,
taking time to assess
mm,
where we are at in life
right.
and how satisfied we are with where we are at. And so we get caught up in just going because of all the demands that are on us, especially as women. It says that, the while the death rate was higher for men through COVID, the mental and emotional
Mm,
stress and of anxiety and depression and PTSD was way higher for women than it
wow.
was for men. And so women have suffered more from all of the pressure and the mental and emotional effects of the pandemic.
Mhm,
And so and so the wheel of life, again, or the life satisfaction survey or whatever, really is just demanding to stop and assess where you're at,
mm,
and how happy or content or satisfied you are with all these different areas of life. And
mm,
then when you look at that, then you have a starting point. That's your
mhm,
starting point. Okay, wow, if I'm here, if I'm not where I want to be, then that's causing stress on you. If
Right.
you're not where you're, if you're at a 2 and you really aspire to be at a 7 or something like that, I mean, we all aspire to be at a 10, but that,
Mhm.
that the reality of that gap
Right.
is your stress. And it is, the overwhelm and everything. And so anyway, so I think it's really just the starting point of understanding where you're at. And then, again, with coaching or counseling or whatever, taking the steps to move the bar forward, or the changing the mindsets or whatever to move that forward. So yeah.
That's really, really, really good. Yeah. And I think what you said at the very beginning, when you started to answer that, you said a key word that we can easily, quickly overlook, and that's stop.
Yeah.
That's something that most of us, for a variety of different reasons, don't either have the opportunity to do, or we choose not to do it, whatever the case may be. But coaching is really that. And I'm going to share a video towards the end here. We've got a few more minutes. I'm going to share just a really brief video, because I want our audience to hear the value of coaching, the value of what you're doing and what you can bring to a person's life and help that life transform literally, in a much faster pace, at a more accelerated rate. And it's not just, I mean, yes, you can continue to trudge through life on your own and DIY it, as I say, do it on your own.
Yeah.
But the amount of time that it takes for you to finally see change come to pass when you're trying to do it on your own, and you've got all the pressure of life weighing in on you, it can be dramatically shifted through this process that we've come to know and love. So,
it's just amazing what can happen when you literally, and women, I'm speaking to you, because we just have a really bad bent towards not valuing ourselves. We hear it all the time: put your mask on yourself first, and then you put it on our kids. But I was asking somebody, I said, I wonder how many of us, if we were in that crashing airplane, would literally put the mask on ourselves before our children. I honestly think it's just in our nature to just tend to them first. But something powerful happens when a woman steps into that place and says, this is not just for my sake, but this is for the sake of my family, my colleagues. This is for the sake of those that are in my life as well. I need to be the best I can be. I want to be the best. And it's almost like when we say that, when we choose to invest, it just sets the stage. It's like we're clearing out the clutter for God to come and start to bring those transformations that we've been longing for. We just never have made the choice to tend to the well-being of our heart in that way. So
oh my goodness, I absolutely love that. That's like speaking to my heart all over again. And it's so very true what you're saying. And I know there are women that are going to hear this and it's going to touch their hearts as well. And it's not even just to our families, but even on a larger scale. As I started this show off saying, a lot of you are listening to this and you know that deep down inside of you, even beyond just your family. I mean, I know family, God first and then family, but you know deep down inside of your heart that you have a call on your life.
Mhm.
You know that there is a bigger purpose, a bigger reason why you exist, why you were born. And so this is also so important that we grab a hold of this, that when you enter into, coaching, counseling, whatever it is, to improve yourself, when you seek to invest in yourself, improve yourself, you're not just doing it for your kids, for your family,
Right.
and your immediate circle, but there are people that are waiting for you to show up. There are people who, Misty, like myself, I mean, we're actually the perfect example of that. I was waiting for you to show up in my life. I needed for you to show up in my life to help me to get from where I was, like you just so eloquently described, to where I wanted to go, where I wanted to be, where I needed to be, and I love sharing this story with people. I was in Arizona a couple of years ago and had an opportunity to go rock climbing. And I was on the rock, this it's if you haven't been to Arizona, make sure you put that on your list. The Grand Canyon is just other than, right? Extra. And so I'm on this incline, but it's steep. It's like there's no angle to it. It's like, and I've got to get up this, and I keep telling myself, don't look down, don't look back, just keep, focus forward. But I really couldn't see a way up, and it was kind of scary. And all of a sudden, these two Asian ladies descended from what felt like heaven to me, and they reached their hands out, and I was afraid. I thought they wanted me to help them down, but they were actually going to help me up.
Oh, wow.
And as soon as I got my footing on that next level by their help, I heard God say to me as clear as day, I never intended for you to do life alone.
Amen. Yep.
Never. And that's for you that is listening, that there are some things in your heart, there are some desires in your heart that you really want to see come to pass. And it would be in your best interest to find that person that you feel comfortable with, that you have that you can trust, confide in. And so Misty is going to share with us, because she's got some things coming up that I'm super excited about. Is this a good time for you to unpack that a little bit?
Yeah.
The workshops?
Yeah. So I have 3 workshops this year. They're called Women's Wellspring workshops. And so as you shared a little bit earlier, I really love the idea of living out of a wellspring of abundance. And I'm not talking financial abundance. I'm talking like a bubbling up, effervescent, abundant wellspring. I always think of that song that we sang, spring up a well within my soul, spring up a well and make me whole. And I'm not singing the right tune, but anyway, you do splish splash and all this stuff. But so anyway, I love to see women tap into that wellspring. And I think that, for those of us, in Christ Jesus, we understand that we have that, but we are living in stress and overwhelm and anxiety and depression and fear and anger and resentment and all those things. And so that wellspring is so stopped up and blocked. And so these wellspring of life, I have 3 words that I use: discover, define, and develop. So the first one is coming up in March, and we are going to discover that wellspring. And not only were we going to like rediscover or discover that wellspring, but we're going to look at, like when have I lived out of that wellspring? Like, so we have to stop and reflect and find that place. Okay. How is that different than what I'm living out of now? What are the obstacles? And then giving some tools to not just access it, but to live from that place. And it like anything else, it's about forming a consistent lifestyle of tapping into it. We can't just neglect it.
Right.
And then come back a year later and go, oh, why is it all filled with gunk and muck and mire and not flowing, so it's tending to it daily. So we'll talk about some tools and hopefully just even develop, like you said, that support system where we can encourage each other to maintain that wellspring and everything. So that's on March 2nd. And I'm excited to be connecting with some women here in Kansas City area. So if you're in Kansas City watching this, I'm not doing this one live or Zoom or virtual. I may do the next one if I get it together well enough, but so
That's exciting. That's really, really exciting, Misty. What I would like to do right now is I'm going to share with our listeners a really short video that just highlights the value of coaching. And then I'm going to come back and have you share just how people can get in touch with you, how they can reach out to you, because even though the workshop is local this time around, but we believe that for the next time I'll get to attend virtually. But in the meantime, you do virtual coaching. You do coaching via Zoom. So you're worldwide as far as your coaching practice is concerned. So I want people to know how they can get in touch with you. So let me just start this really short video. I hope you guys enjoy this. I get inspired by it every single time I watch it over and over again. This is my friend Keisha Capers. She is the training director for Coaching International, and she's going to share with us just the value of coaching.
I think people who
let me
back to the questions. Okay. So Keisha, this may be just kind of along the same lines, but maybe a little bit broader. And so what are your thoughts on the potential that coaching has to empower and position leaders as influencers of culture?
I would say that coaching, I think people who get coached regularly, it's going to set them apart. It's going to set them on a platform that others will not have. And I believe that because coaching forces you at times, for the person who, I think of millennial generation, go, side hustle here, side hustle there, managing children, managing your aging parents, all these things. Coaching forces you to slow down. Coaching forces you to stop and reflect and to gain skills, gain understanding, gain clarity to keep going and to last. And I just see coaching as that opportunity. It's like, a story came to mind of a picture of, I was out with my neighbors the other day and Diwali happened. And so fireworks are going off for an entire week in my neighborhood. And my one neighbor said, yeah, these people were shooting off these fireworks that they look like, the power fireworks. But then when they shot them, they just, and they didn't go anywhere. And then the other neighbor shot fireworks, and when they set them off, they took off, and they went far, and they lit up the entire sky. And I just see coaching they're two of the same things. They look the same, but when coaching ignites that person, they're going to shoot them far, and they're going to have a greater impact. And I believe that everyone could benefit from coaching. There's not a person that I don't think that could not benefit from coaching, whether it's work-related, family. I know many people in my category, they're juggling younger kids, they're juggling their parents, they're trying to figure out how to have their own life and all of those things. And I think coaching is that place to pause, reflect, regroup, and then hit the ground again.
I absolutely love that video short that she did, and it's so on point, and it just really speaks to the value of working with someone like Misty to get traction, to take action. That's the way I like to say it. Yeah. So Misty, would you share with us how we can connect with you, how people can contact you? And I will post this video for people to watch the replay, and I'll put your contact information there as well. So
Okay. Or I can put it on there. I've got it up over here. So I'll put it up on there too. Yeah, so you can connect with me through social media. I am on LinkedIn, not real active. Misty Hughes, or lead dash her, HER Ministries. And same thing on Facebook or Instagram. You can look under Lead Her Ministries or Lead Her Coaching. And then that's my website, leadherministries.com. And so just don't forget the little dash in there between lead and her. And so, yeah, I would love to hear from anybody. I gladly do a 30-minute call. I really believe that, I'm not the right coach for everyone. And so I think it's a good idea for people to explore who is that right coach and that right fit. And so most coaches will do a 30-minute exploration call. And so I really encourage people to, have a couple, do a couple. And I've got, a network of referrals too. So if I'm not the right coach, I know Viola, she's doing millennial leaders, and I love that. I love, so anyway, but yeah, I'd love to have a phone call, Zoom with anyone who is interested in exploring more about coaching and finding the right coach, because I love what she said, that I just love that. Like you can have two doing the same thing, but coaching is like that thing that causes it to explode. And that is so right. That is so right on. So ladies, if you want to take off and really soar and go after the things that are in your heart to go after, I just can't recommend you finding a coach enough. And so, yeah.
That's awesome. I love it, Misty. Yeah. And I love, this is one of the reasons why I love getting to do the Traction to Action show, because I love bringing on other coaches and highlighting them and their niches, their area of expertise, their giftings and talents and abilities. And like Misty said so well, we as coaches are clearly aware, fully aware that we aren't made for everybody. I know who I'm called to, and I know who's looking for me. And I love having that network. That's one of my passions and one of my desires for transformational coaching for millennial leaders, is to have that network of coaches that I can refer people to. So when I meet with you and I recognize, oh, you'd be a really great fit for Misty or for Kathy or for Keisha or whoever it is that I know. And because we're coaches, we kind of have that extra sense of discernment, and we can kind of discern pretty quickly, you'd be much better with so-and-so.
Yeah.
And so I love that.
And that's an abundance mentality.
Yes, it is.
As opposed to a limiting mentality. And I love that.
Unpack that a little bit. That's good.
That we don't have to, I mean, that's what you described as living from that place of abundance, that wellspring of abundance. There's more than enough.
More than enough.
There's more than enough. And so I don't have to walk in fear.
Right.
I don't have to limit, or control or anything. There's more than enough, and we all are working towards the same thing, to help other people. And the way that we can do that best is by having that mentality that you just described. So I love it.
I do too. I love that. Yeah, it's not about competing. It's not about, because in the world, in the business world and elsewhere, right? We run into that so often where, that scarcity mindset of, well, I got to make sure I get mine, so I can't share with this person. I can't give to that person because then there won't be enough for me.
Right.
And then the reality is that the more we give out, the more we sow to others, the more abundance we're going to experience ourselves. So it's a privilege and an honor. When you told me, I know I came into this a little bit ahead of you, not much, but when you told me you were going to be a coach too, I was like so excited. Yes, I love it. So I'm excited to see where Lead Her goes. I just have a feeling it's going to explode.
I got, like lots of vision there. So I'm excited to see what's going to develop over the next 3 to 5 years underneath the platform too. So
that's wonderful.
Just equipping a lot of women to lead themselves, lead their families and significant people in their lives, and lead in the world around them. So
yeah, absolutely. Any final words of wisdom that you'd like to leave with us?
Ooh, wow. Final word. I don't know.
I said, you've shared a lot, so don't feel obligated. I just wanted to give you that opportunity.
Thanks. I can't think of anything. So it's just so good to be with you, Viola. Thank you so much for having me and getting to spend time together, just chatting. So I just really have enjoyed it. You're doing a great thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you guys for listening. Please do share this. If you have questions, just put your questions in the comments and I promise we will get back to you. And it's just been awesome. And I look forward to the next Traction to Action show on Facebook Live. So have a wonderful evening, a wonderful weekend.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.